So Ricky, another win today, but it was a bit of a false thing come the end of it.
Well, you said it right, because it was obviously. I felt we let them back in the door, and I thought their Hearts performance levels in the second half was pretty good, and we kind of dropped off a little bit. But it's a win in the bag for us, which is good. And I just felt we could have made it a lot easier for ourselves. I think we could have been out of sight after the first 25 minutes, Callum, where Ross had the chance, he could have squared it, he's went for a shot, normally scores them, or we get a goal off that. I think there was another one as well. So I felt we could have been out of sight at that particular moment, and we just kind of dropped off the level, the mentality of trying to do what we're good at and get on the ball, pass it and move it quickly. In certain circumstances wasn't quite there, but you get games like that.
And it was a really strong first half, as you mentioned there. Could you talk us through that 45 minutes, perhaps setting the standards that you want to see from the lads?
Yeah, and that's exactly it. I mean, Chris, we're talking about that. It's because it's okay not to be too happy with them if we win the game, and there's areas for us to improve, because we look at every element of the game, every moment of the game is, worked on in a certain way, and we want a specific thing in these certain moments. So, and I didn't see that as much as we did today, and I felt kind of a few errors. For example, Robbie giving away the free kick for their first goal. I felt that was a situation we could have dealt with. The cross comes in, I think it takes a deflection. It doesn't look great on Bernie. I expect Bernie to deal with it better. We'll have a look at it again. So those are the situations. But at the end of the day, we still get the 3 points, regardless of that, which is a big positive.
Do you think maybe in that second half, you, from your perspective, might want to see the lads, kick on from going 3-0 up and maybe get another goal, or just sit back and
well, you asked me about the first half, didn't you? I kind of went on to answer something else, I suppose, but that's exactly it. That's the learning from there, that we should have just gone kicked on and gone and scored 4. Maybe even more at the momentum. I felt we had the Hearts young lads. I felt we had them at that point, and we needed to capitalise on that by being clinical in the final third. And we weren't. And we demand a lot for the guys. That's for sure, and we're quite right to do that. But our second half performance just dipped below the standards and the levels, like you rightly said. And if I'm a sub there, I'm annoyed that we get let in, because the boys know that I make changes. For example, putting Aiden in because they kept their wide player wide and almost transitioning into a 5 at the back, but it causing Bruni a little bit of problems. The boys know that I'll make a sub that needs to be made, but if you're 3 or 4-0 up, we can get players on. Josh Gemmell deserves a chance to play. I put Lenny on for slightly different reasons than Josh today, so other guys in there that are needing a bit of game time. So I'd be annoyed if I'm a sub today that the players on the park took that opportunity away from them.
Yourself, as a manager, if you could ask as well, do you come away after a game like that feeling a bit frustrated still, what happened in the second half, or are you still happy?
Well, I think the emotion of the game, that it leads you to be a little bit frustrated, but when I'm on the side, I'm analysing it in every moment. How do we defend the box, how do we attack in the final third, how do we do all the different elements that add up to a game. So I end up frustrated in some situations, but some situations were good. And we've got to take the positives out. The next part of that is I'll go and analyse it on from the footage, and sometimes that can paint a different picture. But ultimately it's about winning games. This time last year we're probably not winning. It's an easy thing to say, we're probably not winning that game though. So it's about keeping the positive momentum. So we recognise that we didn't play our best for a good period of the game. I thought we played really well. But the other period of the game, over the course of the 90 minutes, performance levels weren't there. So how do we rectify that? How do we fix that? How do we change that? That's really all I think about, and I'll think about that tonight and going forward. But that's the job exactly there in a nutshell. Sometimes you get the performance and you don't get the win, and sometimes you get the win and you don't get the performance. So I would rather the latter.
And it has been a busy schedule, lots of big games back to back, obviously Broxburn in the week as well.
It really has.
The lads holding on to keep our undefeated run going, getting proud of them.
I think there's an element of that, Callum. It's a good question you brought up, because it has been really intense. I've kept with the same, we've kind of settled on this same 11, and that will change as time goes on. But I've just felt there's no real need to change too much. Obviously put Cian in. Cian came in and done pretty well on Tuesday. Cammy came in today, done well. Put in 1 or 2 players, just plugged them in certain situations. I felt that's all that's really needed in the last wee while. So there has been a big demand on players' fitness levels, but that will be up for changing, I'm sure. So it's down to them keeping performing and winning games.
probably a good time to have a few days off now ahead of a different challenge in the Cup next week.
Definitely we need a little bit of a reset. I need to get some game time for the lads who need game time, so we approach this middle third of the season, everybody's on point, similar to where we were at pre-season.
Right, thanks,
All right lads, okay.